Alright, and welcome to another episode of Project ATM Star. And today we are working on finishing up the Fusion Reactor and a couple other multi-blocks. Anyway, so in this part 2 video, I will go over quickly kind of some things that I changed to the setup, but then we're going to dive right into trying to build the reactor along with the other multi-blocks and see how far we could get into today's episode. If we're able to finish everything, this will be the final part. If not, there will be a part 3. So let's see what we can do today. And if you can see here in front of me, I have 3 chests and a sign that says Fission, Boiler, and Turbine, which means we are going to build all 3 multi-blocks, or at least try to in this episode. I know the first one I want to start with is the Fission, so we could get that going, and then we'll work on the other 2 right after. So let me go ahead and grab everything that we need right off the bat, which is going to be the casings, the logic adapter, the ports, basically everything that is on the outside of the machine. Okay, we got a bunch of quests going off right now. All right, so I think what I want to do is I kind of want to keep everything close together because, you know, we have this whole mechanism set up. And then, so like right over here, we'll probably make it across from it. And some of the changes that I did was I actually did find that the Modpack still has what I thought wasn't in here anymore. So it's the Mekanism More Machines mod. And what this does is it allows certain machines, just like this dissolving factory or the dissolving machine, to be tiered up. So I have the ultimate version. Same with these oxidizing machines. I have all the ultimate. Let's see, what else was there? Oh, the ultimate centrifuge is also ultimate level, or the isotopic centrifuge. The chemical infusing factory as well. There's another oxidizing. There's another infusion, and I think that's pretty much it. Everything else is all the same. So I still have the chemical crystallizer here. So that's pretty much all that I did was I just upgraded those machines. I added in the chemical infuser and the isotopic centrifuge to finish off getting us the fissile fuel. So that was not present in the last episode, but I did that in between just before this one started. So this one is all full up, and hopefully we'll start getting a backlog of uranium because I'm kind of out of that. And we're just waiting on this to kind of get maxed out. But once these machines build up, there's no helping that. That's going to get used up fairly quickly. So let's go ahead and jump into this and start building this. So I believe the fission reactor is going to be needing to be, let me see here. So an 18 by 18 by 18. And what I'm also going to do is once I set these down, I'm going to pull out my netherite stick. So then that will also help us with building this. So let's go ahead and first block. So it's going to be 18. Okay, so that should be 18. It is. Okay. And that should be 18. Let me take a look here. Yep. Perfect. And then we'll go ahead and fill in the rest here. So this is just for the base. And now with that out of the way, that gave me enough room to grab my netherite stick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this in my offhand real quick so I could just go blink. And that filled in the rest. So now, let me take a look here real quick. Yeah. So now we need to go up in each corner 18. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab the builder, which might be in my backpack. And it is. Because this will help us with these kind of towers as well. Or like the corners. Okay, so that's 19. One too much. There we go. And then we could just look across and do that. Perfect. Take a look at that. That is 2 extra. And then let me do this last one over here. And 18. Perfect. So from here, I could just go blink and blink. Come back over here and blink. Okay. So we have the frame. Now let's go ahead and build the rest of this. It's going to be a lot of glass. Let me grab the rest of the glass here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is grab that. And then I will remove the pieces that we need for like the ports and everything else. So this is just going to be temporary. I just want to get as much of this filled in as I can. Almost there. Got one more side to go. And then we can start focusing on the inside. Perfect. Alright, let me go around and grab these extra pieces. And that music is really loud, so let me turn that down just a tad bit. I can't even hear. That's a little better. Okay, so now on the inside, what we're going to need to do is place a bunch of these. And I believe they need to go into a checkerboard pattern, which the netherite stick will definitely help us with that. We just got to get the first layer down. Now, I'm making the max size reactor. You don't have to do that. I just like causing myself my own pain. So, you know, it's all up to you. If you want to build the max size reactor, you can. But it's highly not needed. But this will definitely speed up the production once we get going. Especially when we add in like the turbine, and I'm not sure if the boiler makes power. That's something I've never messed with. But I know the turbine will give us some power. Should give us a pretty good amount of power. Almost done here. And then once I place the last couple here, I'm going to jump out and grab some more of the assembler rods here, or the fuel assemblies, just to make sure we're topped up. Matter of fact, I'm going to place everything else in here, stuff that I don't need, and just grab as much as I can. There we go. Okay, now with this, the good thing about this is it will do checkerboard pattern, and it will do it really good. And it broke. Let me make another one. Luckily, these are relatively easy to make. Okay. Now I'm trying to remember if it needs to be one off, or if it can go, let's see here. Okay, so it looks like it needs to be one below, and then we could cover the top up. Oh. So I think, oh, come on. Oh, I missed a whole row. Let me get this fixed up here, and then we will go ahead and move forward. Also going to grab the rest of these out. Perfect. Okay. So it looks like this missed quite a bit. Doing this the hard way. There we go. Okay, so that used up all the fuel assemblies, which is good. That's what we wanted. Now what I'm going to do is find the closest middle point, and I put the control rods in my hand, my offhand, so that I could do this. So let's make sure that this actually placed everything, and it actually looks like it does because we no longer have any in our inventory, which is good. So now what we get to do is fill up the top here with glass. That should be almost everything. Reactor glass. I bet you it's still in my system. It is not. Let me go ahead and make that real quick. There we go. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to focus on setting this up correctly. We do have 4 ports. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, oh, that is why I was missing those blocks. It's because I was doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and place these. I'm going to put 2 in the back. I have 1 in the front. Then 1's going to be on the side. Let's see, it's 2 out. 2 out. Okay. And then just for good measure, I'm going to place the 4th one right here. Now for the logic adapter, I believe this is the one where you could tell it to turn itself off. Yeah. So like what I normally do is I'll set this up to where it'll disable itself if you know, high temperature, critical waste, damage critical, or insufficient fuel. So I normally get about 4 of these, and then I set them up on a redstone. I have to try and remember how I normally have that set up because it has been quite some time. But it worked really well from keeping this from, you know, exploding. So it looks like we're all good to go. So now we need our configurator, which is somewhere probably in my system. Is actually, you know what? I think it's in the chest over here. Sure is. Grab all that stuff out real quick. Worried about a lot of this. Okay, so we need to have input for water, output for waste. Let's see, that'll be waste. That'll be coolant, which is going to be the water. Let's see, is there anything else? Input only. And we'll leave it like that. So let me go ahead and grab a sink out of our system here. make one real quick. Should be pretty quick. It is. And then let me grab some ultimate pipes is the one I'm looking for, that one. Wrong one. Just set this up, and I'm already messing it up. There we go. Okay. So that... Why do you not want to connect there? Is coolant something else? Okay, so this is now filling up with water, I think. Yeah, see, it says coolant tank and water's going in it. That makes sense. This is actually kind of taking a while. Let me see if this makes a difference. Universal. Now, when we're breaking pipes later on, we got to be careful what we break, or else we will get radiation, and that will not be a fun time. Okay, I think that was slower. Let me go back to the other one. I think what I'm going to do... French... something like this. Hopefully this will kind of go against that. It is moving a little bit quicker, so we'll go ahead and let that fill up. Yeah, you can see it moving nice and quick now. Now what I want to do is I want to work on the output of waste. Let me see what we have. Okay, so nuclear waste and its products are radioactive. That means they must be held within radioactive barrels. The nuclear waste and its products must be tubed into and out of radioactive waste barrels. You cannot break the barrels or the tubes that hold radioactive material, or else the radiation will spread in your world. Okay, so that sounds like a fun time. Radioactivity can also come from reactors leaking or melting down. How do we deal with radioactivity? Hazmat suit and time. Okay. So we need a bunch of these, I think. I think I'm going to make 10 of them. Barrels. I'm going to go ahead and make 10 of these. And then kind of like what I like to do is I let the tubes be the buffer as well. Let me grab the tubes out. So we're going to go ahead and go like that. So you won't see it right now, but it is there. Each tube that we put is actually increasing the internal buffer of what it could hold. Okay. So now with that done, I'll go ahead and put these down. I know this looks kind of janky, but I mean, it works, right? That's all that matters. Okay, so this is getting there. Let's see how far we... Oh yeah, we're getting there. So I'm going to turn it on once the coolant gets maxed out here. I'm going to turn it on briefly. just to kind of see how everything is going. And then we'll work on moving on to the next step. So let me go ahead and bring you back as soon as this water fills up and we're ready to turn this thing on. All right, and sometime later, we have now a full tank of coolant and a full tank of fissile fuel. So what I did was I actually turned the rate limit up to 100 millibuckets a tick, just for testing purposes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and hit activate, and then I'm going to take a look at the heated coolant and also the waste tank and make sure everything is looking good, and then I'll hit scram and then we can move forward. So let's go ahead and turn this thing on. Okay. So it looks like it's holding steady. The water is dropping quick, so that's kind of scary. So I might need to look in another way of getting coolant into this thing. And this is building up a good amount of steam as well, fairly quickly. Let me go ahead real quick and take a look at our pipes back here. Okay, so it is moving quick. Let me go ahead and turn this off before we run out of coolant. All right, not bad. The only downside was the coolant or the water source over here was not keeping up, which is not good. So let me go ahead and tear this down. And I think what I want to do is the eternal water block from EvilCraft. Make that. And we could make one of these. Okay. So this should be fairly easy. Let me go ahead and get the eternal water block created real quick. And I will bring you back and we'll see if this works. Okay. So I was able to make the eternal water block fairly easy. All you have to do is just get the weather container, which is ultimately you make the weather container empty, and then you find the EvilCraft tower with the block in the middle that's shooting a green laser beam up in the air. You throw the bottle into that beam, and then it will suck in the weather, and then you get back the My Only Sunshine weather container. Or so then you just add 2 water buckets to it, and it gives you the When the Rain Begins to Fall weather container, which then that's what is needed for the craft, along with the dark blocks and some window panes. Simple craft. I put 2 of these on here just hoping that it will, keep up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and activate it one more time. Oh, that's holding steady. Let me see if I just remove one. Okay, so the eternal water block works perfectly for this. As you can see, the coolant is not dropping whatsoever. Neither is our fissile fuel, so I think our setup is holding fairly good. And I see that the steam is coming out extremely quickly, which is good. So I'm going to go ahead and scram on that. Turn it off, and I'm going to come over here to our barrels. Okay, so we have about 14,000 in each one, which is really good. So this setup is working, and I don't think we'll have an issue. The only issue is probably this setup back here, but these cables do have a fairly big buffer, and I could increase it to make it even bigger if I want to, and also add more of these nuclear waste barrels. That won't be an issue at all. So this looks like it's working really good. So what do we need to do now? Well, to move forward, we need to get another isotopic centrifuge, and also the solar neutron activator. And then these two things will help make the polonium and the plutonium, which will ultimately help us get into the supercritical phase shifter, which is what we need. So many steps to make the antimatter pellet. And then with the antimatter pellet allows us to go even further and make the Mekasuit. So what I am going to do now is I'm going to set up some of these centrifuges. Actually, I'm just going to set up one of these because I have the ultimate, this guy back over here, and this thing is kind of crazy. As you can see, this has 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 slots that it could hold. So this could be pumping out a good amount. And then we'll make probably about, I think what I'll do is I'll have these 5 connected to the isotopic centrifuge. Then I'll have one solar neutron set up to its own barrel. Because I believe, yeah. So let me go ahead and get these things made real quick. So the ultimate centrifuge, that's 1. And then the solar 5. Now, the solar neutron activators, just as its name applies, it is solar powered, which means it will only work during the day. Just make sure you keep an eye on that. Go ahead and slap this guy down right here. Come in here and clear all sides. And then this I will slap down just like this. And come into each one and clear all sides. Okay. So now what I want to do is first I want to make the left side power, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a point on it. Just like so. And it does have power. And then over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the pressure tubes and, oh, that's right. I think you could only do it from the bottom and top, I think. Let me see. So it doesn't say. That's kind of weird. Let's see, does that connect? Okay, so that connects. So let me go ahead and clear this out. I got to be very careful around these guys so I don't accidentally break one, because that will be a rough time. And I want to separate each one so that they're their own, just like that. Okay. So there's one. Let me put these down and I'll fix this. Okay. In fact, let me go ahead and just remove these real quick so I have an easier time. Okay. So they're all separated. Now let me go ahead and put the solar neutron activators back down. And then I'm going to come into the config here, and I'm going to do input, just like this from the back. Double check here. That's looking good. Oop, I forgot to get down under there, so I gotta be very careful here. I need to set all these just like that. And you can see that it is now housing polonium. And now what I'm going to do is, you guessed it, use another entangle porter. And I'm going to put this guy right here. I'm going to come in here and clear all the sides. Then I'm going to grab the rest of my pipes just like this. And then this was polonium. Okay. Polonium. Now, I'm going to have this in the chemical section, input from the back and the sides, auto eject on. Then what I'm going to do is from here, output from the front. So input, input, input. So is not what I wanted to do. Are you not going in? Don't tell me this is one of those that you can't use. Oh man. So you can't use. That's lame. Okay, let me go ahead and delete this. Confirm. Let me go ahead and break this. What I'm going to need is some more of these ultimate tubes. Run out. Should be fine for a start. Okay. So in order to make it into the polonium pellets, what we need to do is run it through the PRC, which is the, if I remember correctly, pressurized reaction chamber. And I think these are, yeah, they have tiers. So I'm going to go ahead and make the biggest tier they have, even though it's probably overkill and definitely not needed. Go ahead and come in here and clear that. And then put that in line. What we're going to do now is set that that way. And then for chemical, input from the back. So as you can see here, this now has polonium. And this also needs fluorite dust. So we'll have to make some fluorite dust, which should be pretty easy. Fluorite dust. Let me see, are we able to make it with the essence? No, we are not, which is perfectly fine. Just come in here, make this recipe for the crusher. Get to the right screen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 2 of these, because we have 2 layers of crushers. So one there, one there. Then I'm also going to give this guy a water block. Go. So now it's full of water. And then eventually what this is going to do is it's going to have fluorite dust coming in. Let me see if I can make a good amount real quick, just so we could kind of see how the process goes. Okay. This needs a point. Up. There we go. So it is super slow. So let's see if we could speed that up. We should have enough speed and energy grades here, which we do. And that's all it could take. That's on. Spent nuclear waste. We'll have to get rid of the spent nuclear waste. But right off the bat, we already have 12 polonium pellets. It's pretty good. So now let's work on the backside. So we'll need to do the same thing. We'll need to grab some more pipes, actually. Or tubes, sorry. And let's go ahead and, nope, not that. I'm going to have to make sure that all these are not connected to this side. Then let me go ahead and switch these to pull. And then we could just go ahead and use one outlet. And we'll come in here, and then for the chemical config, we'll go ahead and do input. Oh, that was loud. And we'll also give this the speed and energy upgrades. All right, so that made us 11 millibuckets of plutonium, which now what we need to do is the same thing. We need to set up another PRC, give it a water and some fluoride dust, and that will give us the plutonium. So let me go ahead and pressurize. Grab another one of these. Bit. I kind of want to check something real quick. Nope. Okay. I was wanting to see if you could upgrade those by any chance with anything, but I guess not. So I'll go ahead and put auto sort on that guy. And then we're going to feed it directly in right off the centrifuge. Grab a water block. I'll come over here. All right, so fluid input, chemical input. And then we also need to give it power, which we could just kind of do a little bit of this here. And input. That should be pulling in. Oh, I need to tell it this to push out. There we go. And then we need to upgrade that. And let's get some more fluorite dust. Another 1,000. I will get this automated so that both machines will be receiving a constant flow of fluorite dust. Just for right now, this is all for testing purposes. So that got us 11 plutonium pellets, which is great. We're already on the right track. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this run just a hair bit longer. I know we gotta deal with the spent nuclear waste and also the steam that's in here. That will get output here fairly shortly. I don't think I'm going to make the boiler, but I know I'm going to make the turbine because that does give us power back, and it gives us a lot of power. So we'll see how I kind of work that. Alright, so let me go ahead and activate this again. Let's go ahead and go to the back here. Oh yeah, that's coming in really quick. Okay, how are we doing over here? Oh yeah, no, that's working wonderful. So every 1,000 millibuckets gets us 1 plutonium pellet, and I'm pretty sure it's the same over here. Yep, gets us 1 polonium. So that's looking pretty good. Let me go ahead and shut this off, just so we could get the spent nuclear waste cleared out. Which I'm wondering if trash. Kind of curious if the trash can will actually work. Can void liquid gases and also contains a filter. So let me see. Because I don't think we need spent nuclear waste for anything, do we? Spent. Yeah, see, there's nothing that is showing for. Oh, here we go. Yeah, no, nothing. So we could just void this off. Let me go ahead and put this down right here. And chemical. Gotta be careful so I don't lose anything here. Hmm. Doesn't look like it's taking out, so it doesn't look like it wants to work. Let me see what happens if I put a tube here. Okay. So it just doesn't like this, which is perfectly fine. Something else I kind of wanted to try is this. Don't like that at all. Okay. So I think I need more of the nuclear or radioactive barrels. Make 10. I'll give 5 for each side, so we're not having to mess around with it too much. And then I'll do the same thing over here. Let's see. And nuclear waste. Perfect. So now that we got the nuclear waste taken care of for both of these sides, now what I want to do I'm gonna pull in the Polonium. I'll do that another time. I think what we got here done is a good beat. Now we need to work on turbine. So let me go ahead and throw all this into the system. So I have room to pull out the turbine. Move all these in there. So the turbine is going to be, I believe, a 17 by 17 by 18 tall. So it will be one block shorter, but the same height as the reactor. So what I want to do is, since this side is pretty much clean up, like there's nothing here, kind of want to make it maybe 3 blocks away and just have it sit right here. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll do that. All right, so let me go ahead and get this thing built. It's going to kind of look like the reactor. The only difference is the inside will have a shaft down the middle with blades. So there's really not that big of a difference to this. So I'll go ahead and get this built and I will bring you guys back. All right, and I am back. So I have the turbine built. That took way longer than it needed to be. And I still don't think I am quite there yet. However, I might have been pushing my reactor just a little too hard. If we look here, I have the rate limit, or the current burn limit, set to 1,000 millibuckets a tick, and it absolutely filled up our steam almost immediately. So I need to see what it requires to make sure we could get this moving. And I'm wondering if I could put a fluid, because I don't need water per se. So let me get the fluid trash can real quick. There it is. And then let me slap that down right here. Okay, so I'm going to set it to dumping excess because I don't need that steam, or I don't need the water either. So let's try this again. So the burn rate is still at 1,000. Let's go ahead and activate this. Okay. So it is on set to dumping excess. And it's not producing anything because it's already full. Which is pretty good. I mean, we were getting, I think it was like 17 million or 18 million FE per tick. So what we can do right now, actually, is first let me flame all this so that it's running. Okay. And I think that's everything. Just to be on the safe side, I'm going to go ahead and just take care of that little section as well. Let me, before I go back, okay, so this needs to dump. I don't need water that bad. Okay, so everything is holding strong. So let's go back home real quick. And let me go over here and turn this back on. So that is using 30 million FE per tick. So let's go back. So this will give us a better idea. Let me Okay. So we're sitting at just about 18.5 million FE per tick with this setup, which is actually really good. Let's see, how are we on the Steam? And we're just holding steady right at 10.9 million millibuckets of steam. So this is working wonderfully. Now, the reason why I'm not going to be building the boiler is because I don't think I need it. Because if we look here, our water's not even flinching with that eternal water block right here. So that's working phenomenally well. And our fissile fuel's doing really good. Let's take a look at it over here. It's going to get a little noisy. So our fissile fuel is doing extremely well. We are running out of uranium hexafluoride, and I believe our limiting factor now is just uranium. So I think what I'm going to do in between episodes is create another farm that is strictly for each material to keep that running. So a farm for uranium, fluorite, sulfur, and just have those going as fast as possible. And I'm going to look into also getting into probably hydroponic beds just to make that even quicker, especially if I get into the simulated hydroponic beds. Those things move extremely quick and they're easy to set up. So I think I am extremely happy with this. Let's take a look back here. Wow. Okay, I was not expecting that. We are full up on polonium or plutonium and polonium as well. Wow. That is fantastic. I'm going to have to get an ender drawer set up so that I could get those auto pushed back into our base back at the overworld. But I am extremely, extremely happy with this. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off for now because I think we have enough stuff to go ahead and move forward. So I believe with this whole setup, we are done. Now we could start working towards the fusion reactor and the super critical phase shifter as well. I think we got more than enough to bring that forth and start working on getting the antimatter pellets and getting the Mekasuit. That's going to open up a lot of doors once we get that. You know, and especially with Draconic back in the pack, or more relevant in the pack. I'm not sure if it was actually in it or not. I know once the ATM 10 to the skies came out, they definitely added a quest line for Draconic in all the mods 10. And so we have the Chaos Guardian that we have to fight in order to progress down that line. And with the Mekasuit, it'll make it just that much easier. I don't think I'm going to go for the Draconic armor. That just looks really chaotic. But who knows? That may change. If I get any type of request to go down that line, I will. But I think the next portion of what we're going to do, and maybe in the next episode, is we're going to focus on building everything that we are needing to start making antimatter. So that includes the fusion reactor and the supercritical phase shifter, the SPS. And yeah, I think that's going to be today was just an awesome step. Like, we got two major machines that will just push our progression forward in this mod pack by tenfold. This gets us opened up a lot of doors for this game. And then once we get the SPS, we'll be able to enter the late game stage of this. So we still got a lot of work to do to get to that point. But this was a major turning point right here. So with that being said, I am going to go ahead and end off today's episode here with the fission reactor and turbine behind me here, fully complete and set up. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining me on this journey. And if you liked today's episode, or if you know of a better way of doing everything that I am trying to get done, please leave down a comment. Make sure you smash the like button, hit the subscribe button to be notified for future episodes, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.